Alright, what's good YouTube? We back with another video, and this is a simple trade recap of the trade I took today. So I took a couple of them. We're gonna create a chart real quick and then jump to this daily daily chart. So we got a daily fair value gap right there after sweeping these lows, and also if you look at the weekly, I'll just draw it out real quick. The bodies respect CE at this gap, and then we fill and we take low inside of it. So my bias on the week was a little bit bullish, not super crazy, bearish, like there was so much room lower, but honestly, like that, I honestly think that's gonna take a little bit. So jumping into the 4-hour, this is what I look at coming in prior to the day. So excuse me, we sweep this high to the left, and obviously what do? We open up a gap right here. So if we want to go higher, we must run lower first, and then that's exactly what we did. So we tapped this gap right there, and then here we go. This is what it looks like. So sweep buy side to go lower, we tap this gap at the open, tapping midnight open like perfectly. Couple runs below that, and then we fill this 30-minute fully, no bodies left in. Fill this 1 hour fully, no bodies left in, and then 15-minute holding right there, and then 15-minute right here as well, holding. So just using like the narrative to what happened, we're looking for a reason that the market's going to either run lower or higher. So I have my objectives, placed where I need them to be. So at the open, we run higher, the fake real move higher. We tap equilibrium, and we tap this daily gap, resulting in shorts being, optimal. But we're in high resistance liquidity right now. We're not in, too crazy a probable market. So we pretty much just chop through a sell-off. It's shouldn't really take this long to get down here, but we end up taking London low, the lowest low during the London session. So we take London's low, and we raid that there, and then we kind of pierce through it, and then we finally get that run through, tapping midnight open, and that's where I was expecting this reversal. So right here we fail to shift market. I was in a couple of shorts right here. I took my initial short here, and then obviously went break even, and then I took another one in here off this gap, and then I get stopped out. So I was looking for midnight open. I was in this short. What happens? We close, open, bam, stop me out right there. So prior to this market structure shift right there, I'm looking for this candle to get past that wick and obviously open up a fair value gap. So this right here was just pure manipulation. Anyone that went long, seeing this gap open, stops right there, even getting stopped out right there. It was just a stop read. So we move to the left, and we actually see real displacement above the high. So we get fake run lower, inverse this gap, boom, run higher, pull back. It was just super clean. So if you look here, look at this inverse, tap the 50% mark perfectly, and leave no bodies inside of it. Boom, run higher. Obviously, a crazy run. So just get into that, bias. Get rid of this. First presented fair value gap. This was really the make or break on this long that I took. And then obviously this was a bullish gap at first. Obviously went inverse when we were going short. Look how we just kept respecting it. While we're respecting first presented after we reclaimed it, we just keep respecting, moving lower, moving lower. So once the objective's taken, I see that I want to see the market displace in the opposing direction. So if we're not going to get to opening range gap, we already tapped the opening range gap, but if we're not going to try to get down to CE or event horizon, after taking midnight open, midnight open's not the craziest draw. It's not really a liquidity pool. It's an area that if we're in close proximity, we're going to target. So just seeing that happen right there, this is when I really was just like, you know what, I'm about to hop off. Down $0 on the day. Didn't lose any money on the day. So I'm just like, I'm thinking like I'm about to hop off, I'm either gonna, continue chasing a short or, we're gonna reverse here because this makes sense. Once I seen this displacement, I'm like, okay, this is either gonna look just like this, you know, displacement through the highs, or, and then, we sell back off, or we're actually gonna get a pull back to the gap and then run. So when I got that pullback, I waited because look, we opened up a gap in favor, and that's really where I'm like, you know what? Like we could either just hold here and continue to sell off, but if we're right, this long plays out and we take 930 high, go tap equilibrium, and then dive higher into this daily fair value gap, which honestly made so much sense. It felt right. Like this was the opening range. If we look to 10 o'clock right there. So opening range, boom. That first 30 minutes, that's all we do. We just chop. So, we're not done. The work's not done yet. So I'm looking for a real manipulation move. And then obviously, hit that. So just gonna jump right into the trade, and obviously we're gonna zoom in on the entry. So we get this market structure shift after taking sell stops, London low, tapping a 4-hour, respecting that 30-minute, 1 hour, and that 15-minute bullish gap. So like price is bullish right here. Mind you, my weekly bias on the the week was bullish before we want to run lower. So, I'm just adding the narrative and adding the confluences. And what do I get? I get a bullish price run that I want to see. We shift market right there. We close above, and we get so much displacement. So we close right above that gap, meaning these shorts, nothing. Shorts are not in the market anymore. And then boom, I get filled around like 140. So bam, I'm long right there. My stop right there. Boom. And then I got out around 205. So, a quick little move, and I just positioned myself. Price was not, accurate today. Not necessarily accurate, but it was not volatile, and it's not gonna push, it's not gonna push us into the direction that we want it to go. It's gonna take some time. We're gonna consolidate. We might even take this 930 high, boom, sell back off. It just allows us to, just think more, and when you have to require way more thinking in a trade, you know that's gonna it's more times it'll go left, due to just human error. So once I seen this displacement above this high, I was already break even and was not really worried about what happened. It was going to be a $0 day if anything, but ended up getting my stop loss in profit. We were up actually, like I was obviously in the trade, came back down to around like 205, so right at one of these wicks right there. So just seeing this, I was only risking about $160. Just looking at it, I wanted to see EQ met obviously, and then wanted to see 930 high get met, but I just did not hold it. There's no need. Once I see this, we displace a little bit. A more probable type of condition day, that's different, So coming back to this bullish gap right here, once it turned inverse, just look how the narrative changes as soon as we're in position. We enter, time is it? 10:20. Perfect time. Excuse me. Perfect time. It's about 10 minutes after the macro. This is a signature. A lot of the stuff that's gonna happen is gonna happen around 10:10. 10 o'clock. 10:20 to 10:30. You're gonna get that little run. So look how after 1020 we get that pullback, and then we run again, and then what do? Break structure, boom, tap this fair value gap right there, and then we run fully to 930. Like that's like a 70 point, 250 or 246. So that's about close to 80 points just off of that, no drawdown, price run. And if you were holding and you were holding to CE at least, just look how high we're already getting. If you're holding to at least consequent encroachment, it would have been, banger trade. So first presented, we finally use that narrative, we inverse it. Look how the body's just respect, and then look how we wick once more. There's another one right here. Pull, break structure, pull back, price run. Mind you, we're bullish. So look at this bullish gap we inversed, but look how it got reclaimed. Now that turns reclaimed fair value gap. Look how the 50% mark gets respected. No bodies left below. We get a strong closeout, break structure right there. Again, back to the upside, and then boom. That's the market structure shift. Pull back to the gap, price run. So there was multiple trades, a little bit deeper into the session, but when I'm right here looking, I'm like, all right, I was kind of anticipating shorts. I wanted to capitalize on, these shorts right here, but there just wasn't much, being provided. So I ended up seeing this, with bullish confluences, a bullish price run was, provided. So that's what I ended up taking right there. And then, yeah, we just capitalized small day. So, all right, word. So here are the screenshots right there. Entry 1020, 59, and then exit time. Entry price 140 and close at 205. So just a very, very simple, regular, just small trade. We positioned ourselves. We already took like a one small loss, and then we obviously shorted once more, regained that loss back, and then once we had this, it was $0, and once we got that displacement, I already told myself just what market conditions, it's summer months, and no news Tuesday. It's gonna be a no news Wednesday and a no news Friday. So it's just not really a crazy news week, Markets aren't being drived all crazy. We will go to where we gotta go. That's just the algorithm, but it might not be as clean, and that's really why you just gotta take what you're given and just be grateful. So that's just a little trade recap. We're gonna close out the video right now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned something. See you guys in the next one. Peace.